Blog Talk Radio.
Welcome to Living Purposely with your host, Stacy Y. White. This program will help to activate your gifts and define your purpose. Now, your host, Stacy Y. White.
Hello, hello, hello. I'm so excited to be with you today. I am just looking so forward to this episode today of Girlfriend, Let's Chat. And there is nothing off limits today. We're talking about it all, from business, professional, to personal, to intimacy, romance. We're dealing with it all today. We're laying it on the line because we need to create as women and not compete. We need to empower, enlighten, educate, and entertain. And we cannot be so stuffed up that we can't crack a joke here and there. So today I'm excited to my friends in Asia, in Africa, and in Europe. Good morning, good evening, and good night to you. It is such a wonderful, wonderful, wonderful time to be back in your presence today. And, of course, to my friends in the islands, I greet you on today. It is such a wonderful, wonderful day for me, and I'm just excited to have you join us today on Living Purposely on this episode of Girlfriends, Let's Chat. Before we introduce the lovely ladies, I will take a brief commercial break. We'll be right back.
Within you lies power. Within you lies creativity. Within you lies a great masterpiece that can transform lives today and beyond. Step into your purpose in 2015 at the Unleash Your Greatness virtual conference. Register today at victoriouscoachinggroup.com. Be prepared to be amazed and empowered. See you there.
So we're back on Living Purposely today, and today we're having a girlfriend chat moment where we're talking to powerhouse women who are entrepreneurs, and we're just excited to be with them today. They're coaches, they're trainers, they're speakers, and so we're just excited to have you on Living Purposely today. I cannot wait to dive down into the matter on today. We have with us today, we have the lovely Novella Robinson, and we're excited to have you, Novella. How are you today?
I am doing well. I am excited to be on here. Thank you for the opportunity.
Oh, wonderful. So tell us a little bit about who Novella is for those who don't know who you are.
Well, I am the CEO and owner of Destiny Enterprises, which is a virtual consulting group for small businesses, nonprofits, and women in ministry. I'm also a licensed minister. I am a motivational empowerment speaker, and I am an aspiring author who's currently working on a book, Every Rose Has Thorns.
Oh, that is awesome. Tell us a little bit about that.
Well, with the book Every Rose Has Thorns, it's actually my testimony speaking to women from hurt places. As we know as women, the most valuable flower that we can get from someone that we're dating or just to get in general is a rose. But on that rose, there's thorns. Even though there's thorns on the rose, it doesn't take the value away from that priceless gift of the rose. And that's what I teach women, that no matter what you've been through, your rose can be low self-esteem, it can be molestation, it can be addiction, it can be anything that you have been through before. But just because you've had those issues, it doesn't take away the value. You still have purpose. And that's why, again, every single rose has thorns. So we all have issues, but we still have purpose.
Absolutely. Absolutely. We all have a purpose, we have a mandate, and we need to fulfill that mandate that is upon our lives. We also have in the studios with us today LaWanda Tillett. She is a powerhouse, and I'm excited to introduce her today to the Living Purposely audience. Hi, LaWanda. How are you today?
I'm good. How are you all? Good evening, ladies, on this second day of January 2015.
Yeah, so tell us a little bit about you so our listeners can be informed.
Absolutely. I am LaWanda Tillett, and I'm the owner of Little Black Dress Event Planning Services. So that is my business. I'm also the co-host of the Mr. G Morning Show, a.k.a. The Beauty. So that is something new that's taken place since December 2nd. Two beautiful young ladies, and I also do motivational speaking. I'm a mentor to a group of ladies ages 12 to 18 with young women achieving success. So that is who I am, a little bit about what I do. And I'm just excited to be a part of this new venture with Unleash Your Purpose and Power. I'm excited.
Wonderful, wonderful, wonderful. We're excited to have you in studios today. We're just thankful for your presence. And next, we also have in studios with us today Deanna Bookert. Okay, let's take a commercial break and we'll be right back. Seems to be having some technical issues on today.
Priceless. Pick up your copy of The Beautiful Fragrance of Love today.
Can you hear me?
And ignite your passion within for the love of your life at Amazon.com. I can feel you watching.
Can you hear me? Hello?
Hi, Deanna. How are you today?
I'm good.
We're excited to have you in studios on today. And so we would like you to introduce yourself to the wonderful audience so the ladies know who they're listening to on today.
Sure. Again, Deanna Booker. I'm a business and personal development coach here in South Carolina, and motivational speaker, licensed missionary in the Grand Old Church of God in Christ, motivational and radio personality. I have a radio show that airs in Orangeburg, South Carolina, and also an author.
Exciting. So we have several authors in our midst on today. So since we have so many authors in our midst on today, I'm going to ask for somebody out there who has words are always fluttering in their brain, but they don't know how to quite put it together. What would you say to that person on today to encourage them to pursue becoming an author?
This is Deanna. What I would say is to start journaling, and that's how I got started. I would keep journals of things that I was thinking, what I was feeling, any personal motivations that I had. I just began to journal, and that just kind of opened up for me to transcribe that into actually a book. So I would say start journaling.
And also, and this is Novella Robinson, also, if you don't, because journaling is definitely good, that's what I do. Also, what I found myself doing is I actually went out and got me a digital recorder. My thoughts run a lot, and the way that I write, I like to capture every moment, the tone of it. So you can get a digital recorder and just start talking it. Maybe sometimes when you can't sleep at night, or maybe even if you're in the car driving and there's this thought that comes down and you want to keep it. pull out your recorder. You can do that even on your telephone. There's apps that you can download, and you can always have something. I feel as someone who enjoys writing, or you want to be an author, that you should have something on you at all times, because you don't never know when you're going to get that expired moment.
Absolutely, that is a great advice, and I just love it. So, LaWanda, I know that you mentioned that you like dealing with young folks. So we know how the young people roll these days, and there was a time when we would wait for marriage before we get intimate with the person that we're dating. But now they're not waiting. Honey, they're tasting the cookie before the time. What would you say to that young person who is dating, and they're probably saying, okay, everybody's doing it, and I want to try it before I get married? What would your advice be for that young person that's listening today?
My advice would be, as you know, as we talk to the young ladies, we have very real conversations with them. As a matter of fact, we had a forum with them and other young boys to have that kind of conversation. And what we say to them is, it's an adult action, and then it has so many consequences, and that it's not as simple as just, you know, oh, we would like to have sex and that type of thing. I said, really, when you do that, you're engaging in taking responsibility for each other's health and safety. I said, it's so much more than that. I said, because now you have to think of whatever that person is dealing with, you now take on that responsibility as well as they take that on from you. So that's the approach that we have, and so I would engage and encourage that they, you know, that they abstain from that, because it has such a grave consequence. And I won't say grave consequence because it is an intimate action. It's an action that's supposed to take place when you're married. And I don't want them to have that notion in their mind that it's a bad thing, but I do want them to understand that there are serious responsibilities that come with that. There are better manageable as husband and wife, because the end result of that is productivity, and there's a child involved, and now with all these health concerns with AIDS and STDs and different things, HPV, there's so much that comes with that, and there's an emotional piece that comes with that oftentimes, even as adults, we're not ready for, even in marriage. Even in dating, we're not ready, because once that happens, it changes the dynamics of the relationship. So where one was just in it for the physical, the other person was emotionally connected, but when the two don't make it together, it causes a disconnect and it causes discord. So I hope that adequately answers your question in regards to that.
Absolutely. I love it, LaWanda. What would you, Deanna, I know that you're married and you're enjoying your marriage. What would you say to someone today who's having challenges in their marriage, and probably the relationship is so broken because of infidelity, and they don't know whether they should stay or whether they should go? What would you say to speak into that person today to uplift their spirit? Because I know when you're going through a bad relationship, it makes you so hurt, and it makes you very depressed and oppressed, and you feel discouraged in your heart and spirit. So what would you say to that woman or man today that is in that relationship and in that marriage, and infidelity occurred, and they're not sure where to go next, how to move forward? What would you say to them?
Well, definitely I can speak on marriage, and ironically, you call that out for me. On tomorrow, my husband and I will be celebrating 15 years of marriage, and we have never dealt with infidelity, but we've had our struggles in our marriage. And with that, what I realized is that I was coaching everyone else, all of these other women, and to understand what their purpose was. Well, men have purpose also. And just like women, if we're not fulfilled, for those that are coaches, we coach them through the process of understanding and defining your purpose. Well, the same thing falls for men as well. They just deal with things differently. The emotional reaction to problems or concerns or disappointment is different than those of women, but they too have purpose. And so for me, what it was for my husband and I to sit down together and to define what each one of our purpose was, and not just individually, but collectively as a couple and as parents. Because one of the things, if we look at the Bible, we talk so much about Adam and Eve, but we have to understand that Adam already had purpose before woman even came into the picture. Woman came in as a companion, as a helpmeet, but man, he already had purpose. So if a man does not understand his purpose, then what good is a woman to come in to be a helpmeet if the man doesn't understand his purpose? So what I've discovered is that my coaching has expanded to not just coaching women, I coach men as well. So I think it goes back to not just understanding purpose individually, but then when you come together in marriage, you both have to understand what each other's purpose is, and that will help to cultivate the love and the respect for each other now that you understand clearly as a woman that you're a helpmeet and you understand what your spouse's purpose is. So that was the defining moment for us in our marriage, was we both had to make clear and understand what each other's purpose was.
Wonderful. I love it. Absolutely. How can you be together and be happy and fulfilled if you don't know what your purpose is in that marriage and in that person's life? You've got to have the purpose, and at some point or another, it must come together to become one. Because though you have your own personal life and your own career, and you may have your own business and he has his own business, you still need to come together in the middle to create oneness. I absolutely love it. We're going to go on now to our lovely novella. And we know that you also deal a lot with purpose. And so I know that as a newer entrepreneur among us, there may be somebody out there today who is contemplating starting their business because it's a new year. Generally, at the beginning of the year, everybody's very hyped up and everybody's so enriched and they want to step out and I'm going to do this and I have a New Year's resolution and I have my vision board, but by the ending of the year you didn't accomplish or even look on that vision board. So I want to ask you today, Novella, to speak to that person who has been putting off procrastinating year after year. I'm going to do this next year, and every time next year comes and pass that person by, and they never move. Speak to that person today to help them to step out of that place of lack, because they're in that place of lack because they're not walking on faith to step into their purpose and their business. So speak to them today.
Okay, the first thing that I would say is not only are you walking in lack and not walking in faith, you're not fulfilling your mandate. Before the foundations of this earth, God created you, but he created you with a purpose. What we have to do as a people, and regardless of your gender, is, back in the day I used to do the vision boards, and I still do, but I don't do resolutions, and I don't really even call them a vision board. I call them an action board. I put down what I feel after I've spent some time with God, and I ask him, what is it that you want me to do? Yes, God gives us the desires of our heart, but the key is those desires that you desire is what he placed on there. It does no good to write out something if you're not going to implement that action plan. So what I would say is get real with yourself. Everyone has something that they're good at, and just like I tell people all the time, or I ask them, what's in your hand, Moses? Don't scatter around and try to compete with other people. Don't look at what Susie, Q, and the rest of them are doing, because that's going to get you distracted. You need to focus on that one thing that keeps you up at night, or even when you're driving or you're walking, there's that tug. I know for me, when I first started out in business or had a desire, I was running in different directions, wanting to do this and wanting to do that, but there was that one thing that kept gnawing at my spirit that would not let me sleep. And until I focused on that and realized that I can do this whether you pay me or not, that's when I knew that that was my purpose. A lot of people say, well, Novella, I don't know what my purpose is. I don't know how to get started on that. Well, the first thing is you need to sit down and get quiet. Instead of making a list of what you want to do, ask God, what is it that you want me to do? And sit there and find out. Sometimes we get distracted, especially on social media when we see other people posting, well, I'm running this direction this year and I've been doing this for so long, and then we want to start comparing. And that's a trick because then you get distracted and you start feeling inadequate. So what I would tell you is, first off, don't compare yourself to someone else. Second off, take some time out to self and get real with self. Ask self, what is it that I want to do? God, what is it that you've called me to do? And then focus on that. Rome was not built overnight, but the bottom line, Rome was built. But you have to be focused. You have to want it bad enough, because it doesn't matter how much I want you to have it, you have to have it, and you need to just zoom in on that one thing. And don't try to run a sprint, because life is going to happen, but you're just going to have to set your boundaries, set your mind to it, and say, you know what, I'm going to fulfill this. And if this will help you, keep in mind that there are people that are called to you that no matter how much I coach, how much I speak, LaWanda or any of these other speakers online do, there are people that are called to you. And if you don't fulfill that purpose and get busy about it, then they're going to die because you weren't able to speak life to them. The great Dr. Miles Monroe says, make sure when you die empty. Because the richest place right now is the graveyard, because a lot of people die with a lot of dreams because they get sidetracked, or they think just because I started it and life happened, then, oh, I missed God. Life is going to happen, but that's part of the process for you to fulfill your purpose.
Absolutely. I love it, Novella, because some of us, we like to compare ourselves with other people. We don't need to compare ourselves, neither do we need to compete with other people. We're who God created us to be. We're a unique masterpiece. We have gifts, talents, skills, and abilities that the world needs and that will transform lives, that will touch and ignite fire in generations and nations, both today and it will end up create a legacy in the end. When we come back from our next commercial break, we will introduce to you Elizabeth Utterback. Let's take a brief commercial break.
Are you or someone you know struggling with your self-esteem because of an abuse that you encountered? Or maybe you're having challenges in your relationship? Well, Victorious Coaching Group can help you. Connect with them today at victoriouscoachinggroup.com.
We are back on Living Purposely today, and we're talking with the lovely ladies. They are dynamic, and I just love them. We have LaWanda, Novella, Elizabeth, and Deanna. We will now introduce to you Elizabeth Utterback. How are you, Elizabeth?
I'm doing fine. How are you this evening, Stacy?
I am wonderful, wonderful. So tell us a little bit about yourself for those who don't know who you are.
Okay, my name is Elizabeth Utterback, and I live in the city of Indianapolis, Indiana. That's rather cold right now. And I am a drug and alcohol counselor. I've been doing that for about 11 years now, and I truly enjoy doing the work that I do, especially working with women who have so many issues that need to believe in themselves and realize that they do have a purpose that they've been ordained to do. So sometimes we have to tap into our inner strength and find out who am I and what am I supposed to be doing.
Absolutely. And we need to have that person in our life that will push us, because some of us If it's up to us alone, we will not get to the destination that God has already prepared for us. But when we have a person or persons behind us cheering us on, we step into that destination, we fulfill our purpose and step into the destination that God has for us. And some of us, we don't need a cheerleading squad because we have it like that. We just move forward whether you're with me or you're against me. But some of us, we need that push. And I like what you do, Elizabeth. So tell us, what would you do for somebody? Probably there's a young person listening today who struggles with drug addiction, and they keep going in and out of rehab, but they're not getting the support that they thought they would receive from family. What would you say to that person today to push them into making this transformation for themselves, even though there may not be families or friends around?
You know, I think the most important thing I always get them to do is to be true to themselves and take a good look at themselves and do they really like the person they see in the mirror. And if they don't like that person, let's work on changing that person little by little by getting them to start speaking life in this situation instead of death. Because, you know, like I always will say, the tongue has it in the power of life or death. But I have to learn to start speaking truth about myself and not what other people say that I am. Because if I can love on myself, then I can start working on those other issues that keep creeping up and stopping me from doing the things that I need to do.
Absolutely. It is so vital for us to develop self-love, because without self-love, how can you love somebody else? You've got to love yourself truly from the inside out without looking at somebody else and saying, oh, that person is so beautiful, yet I'm so ugly. You've got to learn to appreciate you for who you are. Love you enough not to settle. Love you enough not to do things that will hurt you in the future. So what we do today affects us tomorrow, and we've got to always think about that and love ourselves intimately. Now we're back with LaWanda. There may be a young lady listening today, and probably she went through molestation or rape by a family member or a close friend, and they're not able to get past that pain. And they're still walking around with that guilt of, did I do something wrong? Was it my fault? And they don't know how to get past that. Could you speak to that young woman today who is still struggling to get beyond that pain?
Absolutely. It's a very sensitive subject, and people often say, well, you need to get past that, or you need to work beyond that. And I don't truly think you get past it. I don't think you ever let it go. You learn to deal with it. You learn to take that pain and you channel it into a way where you become the victor, where you become victorious over it, where you really do believe in yourself. And it takes the pouring in of women around them to really help them believe in themselves again, because they don't have that love for themselves. They feel like they're unworthy. They feel like it was their fault, like you said. They feel like there was something that they did that brought this on, and they have to understand the mindset of the person that did this was sick. This person didn't love themselves enough and had such a low respect of them, and help them really see themselves for who they are, who God has called them to be, that they are beautiful beyond that situation, that they are not their circumstance, and you help them redefine who they are, and you help them to really to see the beautiful side of who they are past the ugliness. And that really takes a lot of mentorship. It takes a lot of hands-on. That takes a lot of spending time with them and really loving on them until they can love themselves and believe in themselves. What I would say to that young woman is, one, forgive yourself because it wasn't your fault. And help her and show her what that forgiveness looks like. And this is not something you put in her face. That's not something that you remind her of daily. You show her the positive things and the beautiful things that have come from that. That each day that she's alive, she's a victor. Each day that she sees another sunrise or sees another sunset, she won. She's overcome it. So she's stronger than she ever realized just by making it through that one day. And that's one more day that she gets back to add to her life that they cannot take from her anymore. And that she gets stronger in that and reminding her that every day is a win. Every day is a gold medal. And it's not just, and so this is not something that's going to be, in 3 months we can give you this win. Every day is a win for them. And you have to show them that every day is a win for them. Positive affirmations, having them write things in mirrors, being that person that sends them those thank you cards or just those words of encouragement daily. That's really what I would say to her. I would remind her of who she is and what she's yet to become in spite of all of that.
Absolutely. I say to people, because I am a former victim of rape, and I would encourage that person today to stand. Believe in who you are. The rape does not define you, and it does not determine your destination or your future. You are the only person who can do that.